What up, world? Waxvillain, Seattle, Washington. You already know what it is. Welcome to Waxvillain and Friends Fireside Chat. We got greatness in the building. My brother Skeme Richards on the way. He's co-hosting with me. Dan The Beatmann's tapping in all the way from the Bronx. Keep it locked. We'll kick things off soon. I see you. Appreciate y'all on the line. Adrian Carmine in the house. We gotta talk soon, brother. I hope you're doing well. Sassy Bella in the building. Dan The Beatmann's in the house. We see ya. What's up, Angelica? I see ya. Yeah. You already know. Hey Danny, man, you're not going to be able to join the live stream. I just got a message that says you need to update your Instagram app on your phone. I hope you can move fast, brother, and do that real quick. Do you have any friends with you that you can join from their phone? I'm going to try again. Folks, we might have a showstopper tonight. I'm not really sure if this is going to work out. Danny seems to be unable to join. I'm going to give another shot. Appreciate everybody on the line. What's up, brother Skeme?
What up? What up? What's good?
Yo, man, so we have a major issue right now.
Right.
Despite being able to talk to Danny over video and DM, when I tried to invite him, it said he needed like a software update on his phone.
All right. Yo, so Danny, can you download the new update of Instagram on your phone real quick?
I tried to tell him real quick. I think he might be trying right now.
All right.
This is a first. I forgot about that in the prerequisites to joining a live stream.
Yo, I've never had that problem. I've never even heard that problem.
Man, you got me.
It's all good. We'll make it work.
Yeah. Okay, I see some of the I see the poster behind you.
You know.
I know. Yeah. I love those posters.
Yeah, man. This is a UK British quad version.
Okay. You and Supreme got the best posters.
Hey man, you know how we do.
Hot piece of butter, baby.
Yeah, man. Chat's looking good so far. Mr. Deltagram, Clamshell Mafia, yes.
All right, I tried to invite Danny again, but no dice.
The Mac is a 30x40. Is Danny still in the room?
He's in the room, yeah.
So all right, so Duck Sauce, yes, it's an OG, it's an OG British quad poster. Well, I'm sure Danny can hear us then.
Yeah, Danny, is there someone else with a phone and an IG account you can join from if you're not able to do the update, brother? Man. Oh, he just sent a request.
So maybe we in business.
We might. I was about to say, Skeme, you about to get interviewed.
Yo.
Where we at?
Yo, can you see me?
Nah, man, you look like a ghost.
What?
You in the dark.
But can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, okay. Flip that light on for me. I'm sorry. I got a light in the corner, but
It's like
I'm a vampire.
you got to plug into the street lamp out in the park, man.
Yo, dude, what happened to the phone? It's so dark. I can see myself, but it's barely I can see me. Anyway, this is the best I could do, man.
Okay. Hey,
All
listen,
good.
I'm just happy to have you, brother.
Thank you. What's
All
up,
right, I see we
Skeme,
got
brother? Skeme,
31
peace.
on the line. More joining.
That's crazy. I forgot to update my phone, my other phone. I'm using my nephew's phone, so this is what.
Wonderful. That was a quick transition.
Yeah.
If y'all are ready, I'll go ahead and kick things off. All right.
Yes.
I want to welcome everybody to Waxvillain and Friends Fireside Chat. Fireside Chats are similar to interviewers. However, we take the time to do the research because we don't want to duplicate efforts. More importantly, we want to support and strengthen what's already out there. We got about 8 questions. We got show and tell. We got the lightning round. I'm really excited about this. I think we're going to go about 55 minutes. Tonight, I am joined by Philadelphia's own globe-trotting, world-renowned DJ Skeme Richards. Both these individuals were incredibly influential when I first started collecting records. And my introduction to Skeme was just realizing this larger-than-life figure that was a collector of many things, but it was his passion for hunting the record. It was his knowledge of the culture that led to me wanting to follow in on my own journey, but kind of understand the direction that I needed to go with that. When it comes to our main guest tonight, Dan The Beatmann, we had many conversations this past week, and he asked me if I had listened to his music. And I said, brother, you're the reason that I have all these records right here and that I'm the collector I am today. When I first started collecting records, the reason I did that was because I wanted to make beats, and I knew that beat makers and producers had records. The problem was when I went to the record store, all I knew was hip-hop. So when it came to discovering records that I would learn from and begin to sample, it was a Kanye West record that I saw in the corner, and it said Strictly Breaks up there. And then I saw one that said Jay-Z, Tribe Called Quest, and the list went on and on. It's because of Danny that I found records, from Galt McDermott, right? David Axelrod, Tatsuro Yamashita, the Dancer song. All of the music that I was exploring was from Danny's Dusty Fingers and Strictly Breaks tapes, the LPs. That was how I learned to diversify my collection when I was early on trying to explore records. And I simply just don't know where I would be today if it wasn't for picking up Strictly Breaks comps and learning from Danny. He's the reason I found my favorite musician, Gil Scott-Heron and Brian Jackson, and a slew of other musicians and library records and so on like that. Danny, I am honored to have you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dan The Beatmann.
Yeah. That's
What's up?
That's what's up.
Danny, I want to go ahead and start with the basics, man. Tell everyone who Dan The Beatmann is, what you're known for, and what your most proudest accomplishment is.
Okay, yeah. I started out, collecting records as a young kid. But before that, it was baseball cards and comic books and things of that nature. But my mother used to send me to the store to get her 45s, back in the day. So I used to just, because I knew everybody on, where we lived at, all the stores. So I would just grab her some records, in the late 60s, all the way up into the early 70s. And then from there, it just grew on me, the music, because she already had music in the house, but just going out to buy the record and just, just talking to the guys about new records that are coming out and all that. I just started spending my money on records just to have them. This is before hip hop. This is just buy records that I like, and that was it. Then my cousins taught me how to DJ. So I started DJing with him, you know what I'm saying? And we did after hour spots and, little clubs here and there around his way, like social clubs, though. It was not, a club where you would pay to get in. It was like people from the neighborhood, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we just play music in the background while everybody's drinking and having fun or whatever. That's how I was able to get in there so young, because I was with my cousin. So, I just kept going out to a lot of different spots. And then one summer, it was in 75.
Hold on. Not yet.
Okay. Okay.
Crazy legs. Yo, so Danny, yeah, you touched on a few things that I wanted to rap about. Um, One, as blacks and Latinos, our parents always had records in the house. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of us became DJs, musicians, whatever's, and you already said your mom, you was going to the store to pick up records for your mom or whatever.
Yeah.
What were some of the genres that she was into? And
Okay.
were these records that eventually became records that got into your sets?
Well, I mean, a lot of stuff that was on the radio, she would just you know, tell me to buy certain records, like a funk soul record, like something by James Brown or Gene Knight, cool records like that, Sam and Dave, stuff like that. And she would tell me to just go out and get the 45s because she had a lot of albums, but she wanted to collect a lot of 45s, I guess, the singles. And they were really cheap back then. I think they were 35 cents, man, or something like
Wow.
25 cents a single. We're talking about in the late 60s, early 70s.
Sure.
So, I mean, that was a good time to buy records when they were coming out, you know what I mean? And then there was a lot of, like, weird records she was into, man, like rock records, funk and soul and jazz. A lot of jazz and Latin jazz. You know what I'm saying? So she would just get into all of that because my father was into, Latin music. And I had a lot of that lying around in the crib, too. But she was very strong on just collecting anything that was funky and just whatever moved her because she loved to dance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She would go out, like, leave me with a babysitter and go out and see, like, James Brown perform live.
Wow.
Somewhere in some club in Manhattan and all kinds of different things. She would go to different shows and go see a jazz show. You know what I'm saying? It depends on her mood. She was even into, like, easy listening records and stuff like that. And, she had everything in her collection. It was crazy. You know what I mean? So
That's wild.
that's why I picked up on a lot of stuff and I liked it. And then I just, like, when I knew what it was for when it was, like, going through that hip hop phase, I had to tap back into her collection and started digging with what she had and just going out and buy something that was crazy. And I was ahead of my time too, because I was cutting up certain records that were, like, the kids didn't know about those records. I was very different. I would experiment a lot. I would just take the two records and bring them back and forth,
Wow.
like it was,
So, Danny, that's a great segue into the next question. And one of the things we talked about, between midnight and 2 in the morning this week was the time that you left Roberto Clemente State Park and you were walking down the road and you saw these big speakers and you heard something.
Well, I heard the big speakers. I didn't see them at first because when you're walking down the road, you can't see nothing. The park was, like, inside. So I'm hearing this loud rumble. And people are talking on the mic, and it's like, what the hell is going on over there? So I just walked in there and I looked around. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is dope, So I was like, we just stood there. I was with my brother, my sister, my cousin, and we just hung out there and we had a blast, you know what I'm saying? And it was like a little bit after 8 o'clock at night, going on 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we're like young kids back then, teenagers or whatever, and we would just, like, had so much energy. Like, yo, we stood there till the thing finished. That's how it was,
But what you were observing and what you're talking about would eventually become known as hip hop.
Exactly.
Can you talk about what you were seeing and what you were hearing for the first time? Like,
well, I was hearing all these records that I didn't have.
Okay.
And I was like, oh wow. And they were just funk and soul records and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even remember. I know I heard Apache that night.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken. A lot of those type of records, those first early records that were out, Baby Huey, Listen to Me, and stuff like that, man. It was just crazy. And I was, like, looking over the turntable. Then I seen them playing with the 2 records. And then I said, oh, man, that's crazy. I want to do that. So I just had a bunch of records already, so I had to just buy one more copy of each record, and I started emulating that. Then they had more block parties in my neighborhood, like frequently during the summertime, and I would just watch. A lot of DJs were doing that. Unknown DJs too. I don't even know who they were. I can't remember them. There was only a few famous DJs that I remember by name that they weren't really big time.
Okay.
DJ Whitehead was one of them.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody heard of DJ Whitehead from the Bronx, but he was one of my big influences as well. And Grandmaster Flash, of course, with Theodore. And then Theodore got under his belt and he started doing, jams and all that. I looked up to all those guys. Grandmaster Caz was another one. He used to be called Casanova Fly before he became Grandmaster Flash.
Right.
And he was a DJ. He was slick with it. You know what I'm saying? Then I got into like Bambaataa, and then he started playing all these beats. I lost my mind. I was like, well, where is he getting these records from? You know what I'm saying? So I was on a... So I would go to jams and watch from afar.
Yeah.
Stand in the corner and just stare at the record crates and watch what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? And I had a photographic memory. So if you pick the cover up just a little bit, if I see just a corner of the cover, I'll see it the next day in the record store and I'll buy it. And I'll take it home and I'm like, that's the record.
Wow. Wow. Let me ask you this question real quick.
Planetary Citizen was one of the records I heard played. I think it was in 76 or 77. I don't remember, but I remember seeing that, just the corner of it.
Right.
And I was like, yo, I got to get that record. Same thing with Juju Man by Passport. I seen that behind someone's crate. And I saw that and I just grabbed it. Then I started reading the back of the covers. And see who's playing on this, what country, where they were from and all this. I was like, that's a German group, Passport. So I just started buying more of their records.
Okay.
And listening. Good thing I had a record store where we could listen to records before we buy them. You know what I'm saying? And if I find a break on it, I'll just take it home with me. I didn't care.
Hey, Danny.
How old were you, Danny? How old were you?
Yeah.
75, I was 14, so
wow.
Going 15. So, yeah, I was a teenager, My father used to hook me up with mad money, and I would just go out and buy records.
Let me ask you this question real quick. When you were at the park and you were hearing the music, were they playing the full song or what were they playing that you were hearing? Because it was different, right?
Yeah. Look, okay, you can hear me?
Crystal clear?
Okay.
Oh. I hope he's not going outside to do something. Oh, boy. Stand by, folks.
Where we at?
He knows what to do when he sees that ring spinning, so he's about to come back.
Yeah, he's on the dial up. Where we at?
There we go. Zach said, hold my beer. Yeah, it's about to be one of those moments.
Up a little.
You back, Dan?
Yo, I'm back.
All right.
You hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you, but I can't see you. Skeme, can you see
Yeah,
him?
don't worry. You're not going to see me. You can't see me because this camera is messed up on this phone. Yo, I'm telling you, we're on a low budget production here. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Let's rock with it then.
Yeah.
Dan, what I was trying to get at was when you were hearing the music in the park, were they playing the full songs or what were you hearing?
Well, they were doing a little bit of both. They was like when they get to the break part. I mean, they let the song play. When they get to the break part, they were extending it. And that intrigued me. So I was like,
Ah, come on.
I have no idea how he was able to join without us seeing like a tile.
Right.
Let me try again. All right, the invite was sent. I appreciate everybody being patient on the line.
I'm sorry for
You there,
this.
Dan?
Yo, I'm here.
All right.
The phone is messing up.
Let's just keep rolling. You were saying the break part intrigued you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I gravitated towards, you know, and then everything from there just came into place. Watching all the other guys that I grew up around and just watching what they were doing, I was just doing the same thing. But it was about having the records to play. That was the main part, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I would take myself to this record store called Downstairs Records, and they would have a breakbeat section. It was crazy. And they would sell you records that had breaks on them.
In
And
the
I tried
70s?
Yeah, in the 70s. Trust me.
Okay.
They were selling records.
Oh.
Ah, just when we get to the good part.
Let's try one more time. Do you think we should cap it?
I apologize.
No, you're good, man.
Yeah, this phone is very hot right now. It's like on fire. Yeah.
Yo, so Danny, let me ask you a question. You're like
Sure.
you're a Renaissance hip hop man in general. You know what I'm saying, with DJing, MCing, and all. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't know like you was nice with the can. You're a nice graph writer as well. Can
Yeah,
you know
I used to write, but I never really did trains. I'm gonna be honest with
right?
you. I used to hang out and watch guys. I admired other writers. I was like more of a, you know, because I was so busy doing music, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really have time to go out there. But I hung out with guys and we just fucked around and we tagged some cars here and there. But I couldn't get down like that because my spray painting skills was.
Ah,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah. So my spray paint skills wasn't all that. You know what I'm saying?
right,
You know, but I could write on paper. I was mean with that. You know,
right.
but to translate into spray paint, it was kind of harder for me. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But like I said, you know, I like graffiti a lot. I love graffiti. I collect memorabilia, photos, and stuff like that, and that's what I'm into. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm fortunate to know a lot of the biggest graffiti writers of all time. You know, that started in the 70s all the way up until, you know, current day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and a lot of them are still around doing their thing. They're doing, you know, worldwide, you know, galleries and stuff like that.
Oh man.
I think this is going to happen like every few minutes.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
It's nuts though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the best thing I could tell you though, like around that time, music and graffiti and everything was going on. It was like incredible. Witnessing all of that, I had the best time of my life. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was just an incredible experience. Like that would never happen ever again. The beginnings
No.
of that
No
that
way.
would never happen ever again. This shit was so dope that it was like, oh my God. You know, I thank God I was alive and witnessed all of that. That was so dope. For sure, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Danny, so for the next question, you told me that you spent time as a messenger traveling. Oh.
I'm sorry. You got to
You're good,
repeat
man.
that.
Danny, could you talk about your days as a messenger traveling throughout the city and kind of acquiring records? I'd really love it if you tell the story about how you stumbled upon, I don't know, 10, 12 boxes of library records, maybe talk about the cutout stores.
Yeah, I mean, back in 1980, I mean, even before then, like in 78, 79, I was a messenger in the city.
Mm-hmm.
That was like an after school job or whatever, but not even that. It was just, I did that to make money so I could buy records. That was my thing.
Mm-hmm.
My whole check went on records. I'm serious. I was like, that was my thing. And equipment, because, I had to upkeep my equipment. But before all of that, I started working really hard to get my equipment in 1977 when I built my first system. Jacob can't lend me his phone? Why? Hello?
You're live, buddy.
Yeah, this thing keeps turning off. I'm so sorry. So, like, yeah, I mean, I saved up enough money in 1977. I bought my equipment. I was still working, learning about records, and I was just buying records like crazy. But 1980 hit, and that's when the cutouts were starting to pop up in all kinds of weird record stores. You know what I'm saying? Bodegas everywhere. It was like cutouts were just everywhere. And I was just buying them. Buying everything that I knew that had a break, and whatever that I didn't know, I was still buying them to find more breaks. So I would experiment. So like maybe like out of 100 records, like half of it be good, half of it be whack. But they were so cheap, I didn't care. 10 cents, 50 cents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So like the records were like they were in abundance back then. And we're talking about records that are $300, $400, $700 now. I was getting them things for 50 cents, $1, $2.
Wow.
Two for $1 actually. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
Sure.
It was nuts. And then that's when I stumbled on that Jingle House. They were moving out, I think in 1984, 85. They were moving out to California. And I looked around and I was like, hey, you guys are moving, but what's up with all those records right there? You taking them with you? They go, nah, we're going to throw them out. I was like, no, don't throw them out. Give them to me. He's like, well, be back here at 8 o'clock. I was like, bet, I'll be here, and I picked them up. So he had them all boxed up already, you know what I'm saying? And I went through the loading dock. So I went to the loading dock to pick that stuff up,
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, how am I going to get this stuff home? I just threw it in the back of a cab. And right before I left, I called my girlfriend and said, be outside with the dolly. Because I'm going to need it. So she hung outside and waited for me. It only took me about, because it was late at night, I don't know, about 35 minutes, with the traffic and everything. I got there. I took everything out of the box. I paid the guy that, my little bit of money and stuff to just get home. It wasn't that bad. It was like $20-something.
Okay.
Tip. And yeah, man, I took those records and I threw them in the closet. Didn't touch them until like 4 or 5 years later.
Tell us what was inside.
I just threw them in the closet just to make room in my house because it was an apartment. So little by little, I'm throwing those records on the turntables, and I'm like, what the hell have I got here? I'm like, this is insane. And back then, I was trying to make beats and stuff like that. I was making some crazy, weird-ass beats, trying to hit people off and say, yo, let's work with this and work with that. And I was like, man, this is too dark and eerie, man. What the hell are you on? I was like, I want some, some treat 'em right type shit. You know what I mean? Like commercial stuff. I'm
Right.
like, I could do that, but this is different, y'all. Come on. So then
Yo,
after
so Danny, so
Yeah.
let me cut you off. So that kind of like gets into like my next question. like, you know, you said a lot of your beats were like dark and airy beats, which like I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. So the Dusty Fingers series is heavily library influenced, right? And that, you know, we've had conversations before how we're both like,
He'll be back in a second.
yeah. So like, you know, we've had conversations before about, you know, film, like a lot of films and a lot of like 70s cops TV shows, you know, which the Dusty Finger series is obviously kind of like inspired by the love of film and stuff like that. How did you connect the dots with like a lot of the movies that you were into with collecting library records and then the Dusty Finger series?
Well, that all goes back to my mom's. Thanks to her taking me to foreign films when I was a kid and collecting all those movies that she had, that I heard this music in the background of some of these movies. I was like, I got to get the soundtrack. I got to find this one and that one. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that came hand in hand. I concentrated on a lot of soundtracks back then. And I bought as many as I could. You know what I'm saying? And I've only bought the ones that were dope. You know? I didn't want to buy no whack stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
So like it all comes back to your mom with everything then, huh?
I didn't want to buy no whack stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, basically, yeah. Because my mother was a big influence on me. She kind of like.
So like it all comes back to your mom with everything then, huh?
I just wanted to have everything that she showed me and just put it towards what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then some. And then I started finding stuff on my own too. I used to hit my mother to stuff too. So she was like, yeah, that sounds good. I like that. You know what I'm saying? So, she you know, yeah, she did what I was doing. But, you know, it got to the point where I was a little bit too loud for her. And she would like, turn that music down. I could hear you down the block. She'll be walking down the street and I have my music blasting. And I'm in the back. So there was like a little tunnel of where in the back alley that the music would bounce off of. And you could hear me straight onto the street really loud. It was crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was nuts. So I tried to, be cool with her, you know what I'm saying? Because she was like, she was getting older, she couldn't take all that loud noise,
Yeah.
But I used to love making tapes on reel to reel. I had a reel to reel, man, and those were so sweet to have. And I lost all that stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like I had a lot of tapes. Yeah, man. And it was just crazy.
Right on. Right on. Danny, I still need you to tell us what was in those boxes that you got from the Jingle House that sat, in your closet for 4 years. When you did open the boxes, can you tell us what kind of, library records were inside there?
Yeah, there was a lot of DeWolf, KPMs, Omni, if I remember correctly, the major Valentine, those type of libraries. And there was a few others that I can't remember. I don't know if they were Soundstage something. I don't remember. But there was a lot of different library records there. It was crazy.
Were they complete collections?
They were not the entire, collection, but there was a lot of pieces there. Yeah, we had a lot of different pieces. I mean, whatever I got, it was crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I started finding them, like in my digs. You know what I'm saying? I found a record store that had a whole bunch of them, and I would just buy them. They were like $1 a piece, $2 a piece. And this was right before people started getting hip to them.
Okay.
So I would go to the guy at the record store and say, listen, I'm interested in these records. How much you charge for the whole batch, you know?
Mm.
He'll give me a nice little deal, you know? I was like, you know, I buy here every week. I'm in here every week. I don't play around. And this was a soundtrack store where I used to get my French soundtracks and Italian soundtracks from. And they had mad heat there. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think he could see us though.
Now he saw that. He saw it.
Yes, sir.
Yo, so
Believe me.
Danny, let me ask you a question, Dan. So how, since we're on the topic of, you know, soundtracks, and how did you go about putting together the Dusty Fingers? Like, what was your thought process and what you were going to use on each volume? Was it like theme related, or did you just pick, you know, kind of what sounded good together?
Yeah, it was something like that, what you just said. Whatever I felt that sounded good, I will put it on the record. It wasn't about genre or whatever, because it wasn't a complete library record. It was you know, you had, you know, classic rock stuff on there, and, you know, like, well, how do you say, prog rock records? You had jazz records. You had even funk and soul records. Anything that sounded good to me at the time. And I was just trying different things, but it was records that were not on the Ultimate Breaks and Beats. And I kind of took a chance with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was a risky thing at first, because no one knew what that record was. It took almost a year before it started to sell.
Okay.
It was like someone wrote a article about it or something, I think in a magazine, and they said, yo, I need to check these records out. They're crazy. Like a producer bought it, and they were talking about it in some magazine. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And at first, I didn't want no one to know who I was or anything. I kept that on the DL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what it was until you know, time went on and people started introducing me. Hey, that's the guy that makes the Dusty Fingers. And I was like, yeah, what's up? So I couldn't deny it no more. I just had to just keep it going, you know.
Right
And
on.
So you went left field. You really went left field because, like, you really went left field with what you were picking, because like Ultimate Breaks was picking a lot of stuff that was already being played by DJs in the Bronx, that was already, like, you know, hit records in a sense. Rufus Thomas, Bob James, stuff like that. But you was picking a lot of obscure stuff, which says a lot about your musical taste, you
right.
know,
Yeah, I just
which
wanted to
once again
do.
comes back to credit of moms.
Yeah, mom's had a lot to do with it, but then I developed my own style and flavor as well, because I was trying to do production with these records, and I had no one really to grasp on to my vision. So I said, "The hell with this! I got to use these records for something."
Wow.
You know what I mean? And my partner, my God rest his soul, you know, Jazz, he passed away. He was my partner in this, and he died like 2 days right. Yeah, are you there?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So he died 2 days before Biz Markie, and they knew each other very well. Biz Markie used to go get his computer fixed through my friend, Jazz. And Jazz did the cover for me, you know what I'm saying? He did the actual artwork, but it was my vision to design the cover. And I mentioned this to you a couple of nights ago, right?
Yeah. Tell us the story of the cover.
You know, everything you see on the cover except for the hands. And then he came up with the hands. He saw it in the magazine, these hands playing a piano or a keyboard. And he's like, I'm going to jack this and put it on the cover. I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. So that's how the cover was born. But everything you see visually, like the record collection, was from. Yep, volume 17. So everything you see except for the hands was my idea. So I went into that knowing what I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I said, I'm going to put this obscure music out and see what pops off. And then it did, you know. To this day, I know people want the series.
Yeah.
You know, if I had permission to do all these records, they'll still be out. But I don't have permission to do them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I never got permission to do them because I thought it was like I could just do what I want as long as I'm not bootlegging the actual record. I could make my own compilation, you know.
Right.
But
Right.
it don't work that way, you know what I'm saying? But I put these records out, and I think I gave all these bands a second life because they started
Yeah.
coming back out.
So Dan, how many volumes are you in on Dusty Fingers now?
Well, I started doing them digitally. So I only have vinyl for 1 through 17. Then I started doing, 18, 19, 20. So now I'm up to volume 69 digitally. From volume
Crazy.
18 all the way up to 69, I have 25 full-length tracks on each volume. So there's so much heat on there that I put out that I didn't put out when I was doing vinyl. And these are all from that record collection that I had from many years ago, and then some. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Because I always kept my records nice and clean and everything. And if I had a dirty record, I would throw it out and go get a new one if I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the way I
want to
like.
articulate something really quickly. That Danny kind of said quickly. I'll wait for him to come back.
Yo,
Danny, are you there?
yeah, I'm here.
So I want to articulate something that you kind of said that I think people might have glossed over. You were making these dark beats for a very long time. And when it wasn't getting the traction, because you made those beats to get the sounds out, the samples, the breaks, so that people could hear it that way. And so what really happened was when that lane closed, you said, I'm going to share them through the compilations. And that's how we were blessed and gifted with hearing these compilations that were so diverse and songs that we had never heard before.
Right. And it's just like, I just wanted to share my collection with the world, you know what I'm saying? So as a DJ, I was just, selecting the records and putting them out and also the time that I put into making sure the records were getting cleaned. So you heard my volumes and you see how clean they sound. And I learned myself how to remaster and clean up all these records, you know what I'm saying? With the help of my partner buying a computer for me and saying, yo, use this program and learn it and I worked day and night to make sure all the records sound the way they should sound because I know how they should sound, you know what I mean?
Right. What was the program?
I was using SoundForge.
Okay. Yeah.
SoundForge is king.
To this day, I love SoundForge. SoundForge is my friend.
Yo, what are you using? I'm using volume 8. What you using?
I'm up to volume, I think the latest one on one of them, and I have, I think, volume 8 I still use on my other computer.
Right.
Yep. But they're all the same thing. And, I got the, the way. I got the Waves bundle pack for mastering and all that stuff. So I just know how to see, I don't compress my records, and I use EQs, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like that was the one thing I know when me and you DJ together, Dan. I was always like, "Yo, your music always sounds right. It doesn't sound like you ripped it like horribly. It's like it was always perfect. It was like nice and beefy, but not too bass heavy. You know what I'm saying? It was just always mastered, mixed properly, and it was records that I know probably didn't sound as good, but you always had pure good quality with everything.
Yeah, I tried to do my best. I even made them sound better than the vinyl.
Yeah, you did.
because a lot of people were buying my records to sample that instead of the original on certain records. Because I had it sound. I also spent a lot of money on a standalone rack system. It was called the Cedar system. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's like they use that in forensics to clean up audio. I was using that for a while, but they had programs that would pretty much do the same thing, so I stopped using it. And we sold the units. But that was when I first kind of like started off. We had like 3 units in the crib, and we would just run it through there. But I had
was that the rack? Was that the rack that was in the picture? Was that the rack that was in the picture of Big Daddy magazine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in Big Daddy and Miss Shingling interviewed you, Kim.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I record. Yeah.
But yeah, man, so I got hired to do a lot of work for other, because my stuff sounded so good. So I helped out a lot of other people, master their projects. I used to make money doing that as well. Aside from my stuff, we were doing great. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, it was a great time.
Right on.
And,
So, Danny, we got 2 questions left. We're not going to be able to do the show and tell, so I have a question that I thought would be really fun. I would love to know when you and Skeme first met each other, and can you guys talk about your love for classic TV and movies?
Right. You remember when we met, right? In person. It was one time.
My memory's bad.
Okay. I think it was the Buddha Bar in New York.
It was Fat Buddha. That's what I got, because I still got the picture.
Right. So it was, I just.
Bubblegum and toothpaste.
Right?
Yeah, so we met in the Buddha Bar. And then we kept in contact. He'll hit me up, and I did an interview with him. And it was great having him, interview me and everything. And we,
it was like.
And we had the same love for the same things, you know what I mean? But he's a beast. Him and Supreme from the West Coast, Seattle, you know Supreme. You guys are crazy with the toys and stuff, I have some things too, but damn, bro, it's like I can't keep all that. I mean, I'm a record head. I have a lot of records. I think I bought I had over 2 million records, and I sold a bunch of records. I only have like 1,200,000 left. Only, and it seems like a lot, but I had other.
This is hip hop.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I have every record in the world, but that's not a lot of records, man.
Because there's a lot of records out there.
If you look at it, you go, God damn, that's a lot of records, but I'm still hunting for records. There's mad records out there that I do not have, and I'm learning about stuff every day.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll keep it 100. I found some records not too long ago, but they're from a different country, from the Philippines and Korea. I'm up on all that stuff, but I don't have everything. There's so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
And I didn't have that stuff, like years ago. I had maybe 1 piece here, 2 pieces there. So I'm really into that stuff. Like now, I'm trying to get my hands on a lot of that stuff.
You know what's crazy, Dan? Because
hold on. Breakbeat in the building.
What's crazy, Dan, is when we first got connected and we started rapping about collecting, the first thing we talked about was collecting VHS tapes, all the TV shows, the movies on VHS tapes, the soundtracks to those movies and TV shows, and records. You know what I'm saying? That's how we really got connected on that. Then of course the toys and everything like that. But you're the anomaly when it comes to this whole thing, as far as the connecting of the library records and the movies and the soundtracks to doing the compilations. You know what I'm saying? Because we was heavy on the TV shows and stuff like that. We had long conversations on the TV shows and the movies, man. So I applaud you because, you know, like collecting records is one thing, collecting VHS is a whole nother animal.
Yep. Even 8-tracks and all that stuff.
Right.
You know? All that stuff is just insane. So all that, but you know, I can't keep up with all that stuff. I could get some 45, some albums, and I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'll still buy VHS tapes if I see a place and they got something that I want. I'm gonna buy that first. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that I grew up on. You know, it's just like, if I seen like some vintage toys or something and I can afford it, I'm grabbing that stuff. You know, because I used to have that back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And
that's what it's about, being a collector.
Yeah, exactly. You see some stuff like that, you're like, oh, wait a minute. How much is that? Yeah, okay. See what I got in my pocket? I grab. And I don't haggle with nobody. I just go out and buy it. Like, that's why they love me at all the record stores. Like, how much is that record? 400? All right, just take it down. I want it. I don't look at it that I'm getting jerked or getting suckered. I know the value of certain records.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you want it, you just get it.
The point of the matter is, I don't see that record every day.
Yeah.
You know, that if it's one of those, you know what I'm saying? But if I've seen it many times, I ain't tripping on it. You know, I'll find out what it is. If I could afford it, fine. You know, but if I really want it, I'll get it. You know?
Right.
I mean, the most I spent on records, like individual records, was like maybe $500 for one record. And that ain't a lot. You know what I'm saying?
That's not a lot in today's scheme of things. It's definitely not a lot.
I mean, 45s could go for what? 15,000?
Thousands and thousands.
I'm like, I will never pay that. I will never pay that. I would never pay that much for a record. I don't have it like that. You know what I mean? Even if I had the money, I could say I won't spend that kind of money on a record because I'm lucky like that. I'll find that record cheaper somewhere.
Yeah.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? Or a friend of mine might have it, and if he can't up it to me, I'll tell him to rip it for me, and I'll still have it just so I can listen to it, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it, But yeah, that's too much money for me to be spending thousands. I applaud whoever does that. You know what I'm saying? That's up to y'all, man. I want to spend that money like that for one record. That's insane.
Are there certain shows or movies that you two connected on that you both really, really liked a lot?
I mean, Willie Dynamite was one of my. What do you say, Skeme?
Willie Dynamite, definitely. That's classic blaxploitation right there. On the movie side, but I think like on the TV side of things, I would definitely say like Mission Impossible and Kojak.
Love Kojak.
Me too. I also like the Mod Squad. I also like Beretta.
Beretta, because Beretta had an ill like theme to it.
Yeah, they got the music in the background is crazy on all those shows.
Streets of San Francisco.
The Streets of San Francisco, another classic. I mean, I watch those constantly. I got them on DVD.
It's crazy.
Go ahead.
It's crazy because I still be watching nothing but VHS at the crib with all like Mod Squad and Streets of San Francisco and all that right there, Sanford and Son and all that,
Skeme, did you ever check out the albums that Telly Savalas put out? Because he was
Who Loves You, Baby?
Yeah. Who Loves You, Baby? Yeah, man. That's my favorite dude right there.
He was the man.
Yo, I just saw a movie with him yesterday. It was a comedy, but you know who was in that movie with him? Diane Rigg.
Oh,
From
from Avengers.
from the Avengers, and she's fine as hell. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah, she is.
I mean, oh my God, I mean, I just had to watch it because of her. But the movie was called the Assassination Company or something like that.
Right.
It was funny as hell, man. You know, it was funny, but yet it was like and let me tell
Yep.
you, man, I had a good time watching that movie. That was a kick. Telly
Yo,
Savalas.
I need to get up on that because you know it's rare that it's a TV show that I haven't seen or a movie that I haven't seen from like that era, especially with that cast. So I definitely need to jump on that. We're gonna have a long discussion on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've seen so many things in my life. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Spent hours and hours and hours. Sometimes I just keep watching the same old things over and over because that's what interests me. You know what I mean?
It's
Right.
good.
I'll
It's
watch
good TV and movie.
the whole thing, and I just keep watching it again because I enjoy it so much. You
Right.
know the deal, Scheme. Especially you got it
Yeah.
on
No.
VHS. God,
On
all my
VHS. I watched the
VHS,
same episodes.
I can't keep them in the crib. See, I don't have a house. I'm an apartment dweller. You know what I mean? So all the stuff that I did have, you know what I'm saying? I had to put it in storage just to make room. You know, I had to
Yo.
downsize.
Yo, so Supreme LaRock wants to know. He's like, yo, let's forget music. Let's talk about the Deuce in the '80s.
Oh
you
yeah,
was you was going to the Deuce. You was going to the theaters. You was watching the kung fu flicks and the blaxploitation and the Godzilla
yeah.
joints and doing the Deuce. Like, what was that for you? And that feeling, like, how was that for you going to the Deuce in the '80s?
Okay, I would cut school, watch a triple matinee or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll go, you know, check into school, go to homeroom. After homeroom, I would skate. With like 4 or 5 brothers of. And we'll go down to 40 Deuce and we just hang out like in the playland, playing some games and stuff like that, arcade games. Then then we knew a guy that worked in the movie theater and he used to sneak us in through the back. And we used to go there with food and munchies so we didn't have to buy nothing. You know what I'm saying? So we had bottles of soda on us and everything, and beer and candy and all kinds of stuff. And we just sit back and watch movies for 2-3 hours and then go home. That was it. And if we were lucky, we had time to go to the record store and pick up some breaks and then go home. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because they had the big music factory in Times Square, and they
Right.
would stay open at 2 a.m. So I remember going. I had a jam, right, and I think one of my records broke. And I ran down there, I remember, to replace the record. I bought 2 brand new copies, and I went straight back to the jam. Somebody drove me down there because I wanted to cut that record. You know what I'm saying? I think it was remember them bootleg 12 inches that came out? And Peace the President and
And
Long
Peace the
Red.
President, Big Beat. Yeah,
Yeah,
Big
Big
Beat,
Beat
Long
and all
Red.
that. So I think it was the Big Beat, and then I think it was Cool as Back on the other side.
Cool's back. Yep, Cool's back on the
So
flip.
one of those cracked, and it didn't belong to me. It was a friend of mine's. He lent me those records, but for some reason I think we dropped the crate, and the record cracked inside the crate. So I was like, I gotta go get some copies because he used to love to cut that record. So I bought fresh copies and everything, and those were the shit to rock. You know what I'm saying? instead of your originals.
Oh.
Right.
You had wider grooves and everything would just work out fine. You feel me?
Yeah.
And that was so dope.
So, Dan,
Memories, man. Memories.
for our last question, you were very good friends with Biz Markie, and one of the stories you told me was about how you gave him the records for his hit record. I would love it if you could kind of take us back and tell us how that song came about with Biz and what you were saying to him on the side, especially when it came to the hook.
Right. So, like, I did this beat using Get Out My Life Woman, Lee Dorsey, and I had Freddie Scott. And I chopped Freddie Scott the pianos. And I just threw it on tape just to make a beat, okay? Biz Marquis's been looking for that drum beat, but he didn't know how to tell me who the artist was. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And he would sing the song to me. He would go, ooh, we're gonna sing along. I'm like, what the hell is that? So then my memory served me right. I called him and I said, listen, is this the record you was talking about? He goes, that's it. That's it. He's like, yo, I'm going to go to your house right now. Yeah, he said he was in New Jersey. He got to my house like in 15 minutes.
He
So
wanted
I
that
gave him
record.
that record. But then I said, listen, I did a track with this record and something else. I want you to hear it. And then he heard, you know, the other record. He's like, yeah, give me that record too. And then he broke out. I didn't see him for a while. Then he told me he's going to go to the studio. Can you come? I'm like, yeah, no problem. But then I had to. So I had to work, I think, and I couldn't get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a busy time of the year or something like that. I don't know. They were doing something that I had to be there. And so he went and did it himself, you know. So he couldn't loop the record for nothing over the top of the drums because they were clashing. Freddie Scott don't match with that beat. I said, no, you got to chop it up. But he's like, he didn't know what I meant by that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So he finally got someone to play over the beat with a piano. And he was listening for the sound from that record. So to try to find the keyboard player to finally get it right. Once he got it right, it was a wrap. Then he started writing lyrics, and he took some of the lyrics from Freddie Scott's record. He took the lyrics from Freddie Scott's record, You Got What I Need, to sing the hook. You know what I'm saying? But the record was never called You Got What I Need. It was called Just a Friend. You heard what I'm saying? So Just a Friend became a real big hit. And I could say I'm responsible for that because without me letting him on the, know what the record was, he would have never made that record. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a little sad that I didn't be there in the studio with him, because I mean, but it worked out fine, he did what he had to do, and that was it. It worked out fine.
And how did he come to sing the hook?
I don't know. He never explained that part to me, but he said he tried to get other singers to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he said he tried to get everybody, to sing it. And he's like, nobody was singing. So he's like, damn it, I'm going to do it my damn self. And that was the best thing that ever happened. Because look at the record now.
Yeah.
Yep.
The record
pay a
was a classic back then. It's still a classic. And no one could ever do what he did. Ever. He was the only one that could do that. You know what I'm saying? No one else did something like that. Ever. So it was just a phenomenon, And that's why Biz is who he is. Biz is, nobody beats the Biz.
Mm.
You know, Biz is who he is. He got that personality, that persona, and he could. You put his mind to it, he could do anything. Even though he can't sing, that wasn't it. He was doing a heartfelt. He was doing a heartfelt dramatization of the story, and he came across. He came across the thing right, and that was it, man.
That's
You know,
fantastic.
God bless him.
Biz was a very, very unique individual, the same way that I look at you, Danny, as like a very, very unique individual. And what you've brought to
Yeah.
the table, what you brought to the game, who you are, the fact that you was a mystery early on and nobody knew who you was. Even in the Big Daddy magazine interview, you had your back to the camera. Like no one knew who you were, So like you are a very unique, well celebrated and applauded human being within this culture.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You guys, I got a real quick question for you about Biz. Many years ago, I saw that he had like a 7-inch Technics turntable. Do you know how that came about?
I could tell you the story for what he told me.
Yeah, let's do it.
He had met with the grandson of the owner of Techniques.
Okay.
And he was a big fan, so he wanted some memorabilia. But when he went to Japan, he was showing him like a museum of turntables that they had that never came out. Had 2 prototypes there, silver. They had silver and black prototypes, and he took them with him on the plane from Japan. Him and his cousin. They had them like they bought an extra seat so they could put them right there and bring them back to America. That's crazy.
Yo, you know what's so funny?
When he got them back here, then he got cases for them and everything, and found the perfect mixer to go with it. And I think I'm the only other DJ that ever touched his turntables.
Wow.
I don't think he let anyone else touch them. I used them in his house. I have a video of me on the turntables in my feed inside of Facebook. There's a video of me in his house, and he introduced me, and I was cutting up some records.
Wow.
Yo, and I used Serato.
You know what's funny about that story, Dan?
Yeah.
Like, so, me and Biz, we've connected on the records, but me, Biz, and Cash Money used to always be on the phone talking about toys and VHS tapes, right?
Right.
So I remember asking him the question about how did you get those turntables? Because, Biz always got a story. It's always a story with Biz. Yeah. So his thing was like, he basically said what you said. Biz basically said what you said, how he got them. But I was like, how much did you pay for him? And his thing was he had to give up this rare Godzilla figure that spit fire.
Yeah, he said something like that too. I don't know what it was. He just said that to me. I had to give up some stuff that I didn't want to. I was like, are you crazy?
So the crazy thing is I have the Godzilla that he gave up. He gave up a Godzilla and a Mothra, and it's like a giant motorized Godzilla from the 70s that spits fire. Well, he says it spits fire, but it just spits like sparks. Right. So yeah, it's funny because he said he had to give up that, and I was like, damn, you gave up that. But the crazy thing is, like, that thing is hard to get. It's like rare, even in Japan, it's rare.
Yeah,
so
I believe it.
For him to give it up, that's funny. And I've seen him since. I've seen him multiple times since then in Japan. Yeah, like it's just funny, but that's definitely a Biz story. Oh, like Biz is the only one that's going to be like, yeah, I had to give up this giant Godzilla that spits fire. And it's crazy because I remember he mentioned a Godzilla in an interview before, and people thought he was lying. And I was like, Biz isn't lying. Like when Biz says he has something, he's got it. You
Mhm.
know, just because you've never seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, like the Bob James,
Like the Bob James.
without the bells.
Oh my gosh. That's
It
crazy.
Yeah, it's
exists.
crazy.
It exists. But the thing is, not too many people know about it. There's records that I have that people didn't believe me that I had. And then they threatened me.
Threatened you?
Yo, they threatened me. They said, you a fucking liar. You ain't got that record. You full of shit. I said, come to my house right now. I pulled the Bismarcky. Come to my house. And I pulled the record out and I played it. Guy shook his head and said, yo, I'll never doubt you again, Dan. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm
but
sorry.
see, you know what that is? You know what that is, though? That's Biz was out digging the world before everybody was out digging, right?
Exactly.
So when he talks about having disco 12 inches, and a lot of people are like, oh, that disco 12-inch doesn't exist. Well, you weren't going to Japan in the 90s, and those disco 12 inches existed in Japan. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. He was digging before everybody was digging and traveling the globe to go buy records. He was already on it. So he was seeing European pressings and Japanese pressings of records that didn't exist in America.
Skeme, because of time, I think we should cut the lightning round.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
I
we
want to
want to
give a
jump.
big shout out to somebody. Watch it. Uh-oh. They're having a birthday party. And they set off the alarm with the damn birthday cake. I'm sorry. But it's all fun, you know?
Yo, only with Danny.
Hey, anything's possible at Casa de Danny.
Right?
That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's
Hey,
all
Yo,
Danny.
so
vibe over
Danny,
here.
Go ahead, Skeme.
yo, Danny, let's
Oh,
get
they
into this
had one of
lightning
those
round.
things that sparks.
Yo,
You know?
Danny.
Yeah.
Yo, let's get into this lightning round, man. We got a couple questions.
Yeah, what's
We
that?
we got a couple questions. So real quick, if you can answer them as quick as possible. LP or 45?
LP.
All right. Favorite genre to dig for?
Breaks.
What's the last LP 45 or 45 you bought?
James Brown.
What's something you listen to that would surprise us all?
My own music.
Oh, that's a good one. What do you like to do when you're not making music?
Digging.
Name a musician who's had a big impact on you.
James Brown.
That's the number one answer for me. Favorite place to shop? Favorite place to shop for music, whether it's a store or a country, either or.
Say that again, please.
Favorite place to shop for records, whether it's a store or a country. What's your favorite place to shop for records?
I say Europe. So like there's a lot of stores in Europe, but I have a lot of favorite stores out there all over. So, you know, Germany was one of my favorites, England and France.
Word.
Okay.
Um,
Then you got other parts of Europe that I would love to dig into.
all right, so if you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
A superpower, I could leap tall buildings in a single bound. Find more records and faster than the speeding bullet.
All right. So, and the final question: if you had a theme song, what would it be and why?
It'll be let me think this one out. A theme song will be like Shaft
All right.
from the TV show.
The TV show Shaft.
Ooh,
Yes. Not
Yes.
the movie. The
Not
rare
the
TV
movie, but
show.
the TV show.
I love
It's
that.
very dramatized. It's so dope.
Oh
Yo, a
man,
lot
And
of
it had
people
these
don't know.
albums that I found that were
A lot
kind
of
of
people don't know
different.
about the TV show.
They
that's
don't
crazy.
know. Yep.
That's a trip.
And then
Danny Skeme.
I will walk down the street just trying to find records. You know what I'm saying? With that music in the background.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I would love it.
Danny Skeme, I want to thank you both so much for taking time to be here tonight. Hold on a sec. Danny,
Yes,
you
yes
there?
sir. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Danny Skeme, I want to thank you guys so much for making time to be here tonight. We navigated some technical difficulties throughout, but I still think this was a fantastic show. Danny, we're going to do a part 2 and a part 3. Brother Skeme, you are always welcome back, and I know we'll be in touch soon.
Definitely. I appreciate it. I want to shout out to a few people, please.
Yeah.
Supreme, love you a lot. Love you guys a lot. Thank you so much, Skeme. To my man Victor of Fraternity Records. I got a new 7-inch coming out very soon. Purple cover. It's gonna be hot as hell. 45, you know what I'm saying? Experts from my album, but with remodified cuts. So I remixed a couple of the songs, just 2 of them, and and for my artist that does the covers for me, Delta, out in Australia.
Delta's the man.
Delta, he's a very talented MC, DJ, and artist, graphic artist. He does the artwork for me.
Very cool. Absolutely.
And to my brother in Canada, Joe Run, you know, God bless him. You know, he's been a big help with me also, and doing work with me. And my boy K Def.
We got
Hey, that's
K-Def
the man.
Records.
That's my man, 50 grand, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, my brother Divine, who's been like pushing me to just keep coming and keep going and, you know, doing what I do, you know what I'm saying, as far as pushing me to find records and stuff like that for him. But also he's making me find records for myself. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a long shout-out list.
So you know, it all works out, man. So peace to the gods and the fresh 3 MCs. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, those are my crew from back in the day. They live not too far from me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I grew up in the Bronx, and all my brothers, TBB, Bronx boys. You know what I'm saying? My B-boy peoples. You know, and you know everybody out there that you know I grew up with. Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, Kaz, Jazzy J. That's another beast right there. Red Alert. You know what I'm saying? We all, you know, stay in contact, and we still, you know, build on breaks, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is, you know. It's all about the breaks. You know what I'm saying? A1 Record Store in New York, you know, Academy. You know, we still build and they sell records and rock and soul.
That's like the
Rock and soul still in business, you know. So yeah, man, I visit them and a lot of other spots all over the world, man. I appreciate them, you know, for selling my records and, you know, keeping the genre alive. So please be on the lookout. I'm coming out with another album soon too. It's gonna be a red cover.
We got you, brother. We got you. We're right behind you.
It's coming soon. So the heat is there. It just got to get it out. You know what I'm saying?
We got you, my man.
Definitely. So y'all have a good night, man. I appreciate y'all.
I
hit me
appreciate
up.
all y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Waxvillain, Seattle, Washington. We're out. Skeme, any last words, my man?
Yo, man, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, even with the technical difficulties. That's what actually made this like really special and fun at the same time, was the
Yeah,
technical difficulties. So like the stories are still priceless, man, regardless. It's like stories is priceless, Dan's the man. And it was just an amazing night, man. We definitely got to do, part 2 and part 3. And I think this time I'm gonna just go to the Bronx and hang out with him and have my phone. Right? But like, yo, it's technical difficulties is what made this special. You know what
I
I'm
love
saying?
it.
So thank you for having me on. And we definitely got to get undercover brother Vic from Fraternity Records on to do the joint.
Absolutely,
You
absolutely.
know, Dan just mentioned him. He's a
We'll,
guy.
we'll take care of that, and I hope you'll ride shotgun with me next time too.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
All right, brother. Take care. Have a good night.
All right. Peace.
Waxville in Seattle, Washington. We're out of here, everybody. Have a great night.